Tihei mauri ora. E nā mana, e nā reo, e rauranga tirama, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Your Excellency, the Governor-General, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Sir, I stand before you today, humbled and inspired, not only to be in your presence, sir, but in the presence of all returned servicemen and women who have defended with their lives the democratic liberties and freedoms that we all hold dear. We are humbled and we are grateful for your service. But as we together embark upon the 100th anniversary since the dispatch of the New Zealand Expeditionary Forces to the coastline of the Dardanelles, we pay tribute to those who fought for our country a century ago. For today we not only recognise and address those who are before us in this grand hall. Today we speak to the 103,000 New Zealanders whose golden spirit stands with us today. Keep the home fires burning while your hearts are yearning. Though your lads are far away, they dream of home. There's a silver lining through the dark cloud shining. Turn the dark clouds inside out till the boys come home. Now, while those patriotic wartime melodies tell us how all of our boys dreamt of home, as history tells us, for 18,500 men, those dreams were never realised. But let me tell you that our men, they didn't die for nothing. And the contribution of the female nurses wasn't for nothing either. But rather together, they forged an identity for all of us. And this identity is a powerful combination of courage, leadership, and resilience. And let me also tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that our men weren't short of a few tales to back this up either. All you have to do is read their diaries, because there are some amazing stories in those diaries. And the first story that I came across demonstrated an enormous sense of courage to me. And it was shown in the diaries of Air Ace Keith Caldwell, who at 16,000 feet into the air crashed with an Allied plane, ripping off one of his plane's wings. And at 16,000 feet into the air, most people would be wondering, what the hell am I going to do? But not Caldwell. Caldwell, showing an impressive sense of Kiwi ingenuity, he got out of his seat. He got out of his plane, ladies and gentlemen. He climbed onto the other side and held onto the wooden struts to try and balance the plane throughout its descent and try and control it as it tried to land. And he jumped off just before the plane met its fiery end. And at the end of his diary entry, summing up his day, he writes in the corner, "Very lucky." If that's not an understatement, I don't know what is. The second story that I came across demonstrated real leadership to me. And it was shown at Chunuk Bair, when Colonel Malone of the Wellington Battalion refused to send his men into battle in broad daylight. He stood up to his British superiors. He said to them, "I am not going to send my men in to commit suicide." And I think that because of that leadership, it can only be put down to karma that our men took Chunuk Bair that dawn, following Malone's brilliant twilight attack. And the third story that perhaps touched me the most showed the resilience of our men at Passchendaele, where men like Private Leonard Hart would recall how the artillery guns that they had sank into the mud as they were firing, slaughtering their own comrades instead of the German forts and barbed wire ahead of them. And as if that wasn't heroic, as if that wasn't enough to see, Private Hart was still one of the men, the 6 to 8 men, who would carry their single wounded comrade by stretcher. A 12-hour journey across 6 kilometres of mud. all the way to the nearest dressing station. And as if that wasn't heroic enough once, ladies and gentlemen, Private Hart and his men did the same thing again and again and again until every one of their wounded comrades was safe. W.H. Auden dedicated in his poem an epitaph to the unknown soldier, that to save your world, you ask this man to die. But would this man, could he see you now, ask why? International conflicts still threaten fundamental human rights, our way of life, and the evolution of humanity. And one day that same mantle of responsibility for upholding world peace and harmony will fall to our generation. But I can only hope that we can conduct that same responsibility with the same sense of profound principles that guided our forefathers 100 years ago. So that the unknown soldier of whom Auden writes, he wouldn't ask why. So that Auden's man would see that he didn't die for nothing, or that any of his brothers did for that matter, or that the contribution of the 550 female nurses who risked their lives every single day wasn't for nothing either. But rather, they would see that together they left us a gift. That they left us a free country with its own unique identity, forged in the theatres of war, with the values of courage, of leadership, and of resilience. Values that put Sir Edmund Hillary at the highest peak of the planet. Values which demanded that David Lange stand up to the world superpowers and declare our country nuclear free. And values that compelled the All Blacks to thrash the all-too-confident United States 74-6 last year. And values that I hope will guide me throughout my journey in life. Ladies and gentlemen, today, stone archways guard our schools. Plaques pave our streets, and cenotaphs cast shadows on our cities. But these small monuments to our fallen heroes bears no fitting equivalent to the ultimate price that they paid for our freedom. And for that, we will remember them. Nō reira rā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.